This is VOCM Open Line. Call now to get in the queue. 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626. The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station. The biggest conversation in Newfoundland and Labrador starts now. Here's your host, Brian Callahan.
Good Thursday morning, everyone, and welcome to Open Line. I am your host, Brian Callahan, along with David Williams, who produces this show, and the numbers to call to get in the queue and on the air are in the St. John's metro area. 1-709-273-5211. We all know that one. Or long distance, longer distance, 1-888-590-VOCM 8626. Of course, and we'll take your emails at openline@vocm.com and get to them as quickly as we can. But more than anything, the sun rays are most certainly crowning thy pine-clad hills across the province, right across the province today. And man, does it ever do a body and a brain good. Doesn't do much for the old pocketbook, unfortunately, which will be a little lighter today or whenever you have to gas up. So another increase overnight. And if you're counting, that's 13 cents a litre this week increase alone, spanned over a few days. So with no let up in sight. And would you look at that, just in time for the May 4th weekend. Such a coincidence. And many will ask, and have been asking, why it's so early this year, the May 4th, such as this year. Well, I think way back in the early, I think it was the 50s, the date for Queen Victoria, for her birthday, for Queen Victoria Day, known as the Mother of Confederation, of course. The date was made flexible. That was just so that they changed it from the hard date of always being on 24th to the last Monday before the 25th. So before the birthday passes each year. So, and that's just to ensure most Canadians get the long weekend. So there you go, if you're lucky enough to get it. And fingers crossed for some spring-like weather for the 2-4, but man, the winds, or at least the gusts yesterday and into last night were something else. Had a bite to them too. And a real winter sky, you know, it was that real light blue sky last night that clouds moving past through. It felt like a winter's night, but nothing like that today. Gorgeous day right across the province, so let's enjoy it while we got it. So, and yes, good morning and congratulations to Brad Gushue. I don't think it's too soon or too much to call him a curling legend. That's been done before and said over and over, and especially now that he's wrapped up his playing career, for what he's done for the sport in this province, nationally, internationally, and as an articulate and, yes, sometimes outspoken ambassador for the game as well. And all the flaws he sees sometimes that could use correction, and, you know, his words hold weight. Olympic gold, bronze medals, of course, world titles, 6-time Brier champ, holds the Brier record for most wins, appearances, and playoff wins as a skip. He's 45 years old now and moving to the next stage of his working life. And, you know, look, it's easy to be an armchair critic on this one and say, wow, he doesn't care about what's going on in Canada. Of course, he's taken the position now with the U.S. curling as a performance, as the director of performance and high performance with the entire U.S. curling organization. And it seems, that's, you know, not very Canadian or something, but I think if push came to shove, and any of us would have done the same thing when it comes to what's best for oneself and one's family. And who are we to judge that? He's by no means the first to do this, by the way, either. To suit up, represent another country. Just look at national and world curling champion Kathy Overton-Clapham from Winnipeg, who's coach of the U.S. women's team. Just saw her front and center at the Olympics, you know, albeit sporting the red, white, and blue. So now both Ms. Clapham and Brad will be conspiring to defeat their own countrymen and women, if you will. Something Brad has said will probably be the most awkward part for him when he first steps on the ice against, say, Team Canada. Heard him say he'll be drawing on the experience of people like Overton-Clapham and others and how to navigate that aspect of it. So I guess I get it. I just wish right now, at this particular time, it was Sweden or Norway or Switzerland or even Canada instead of the States, but that's just a natural reaction. Speaking of which, we'd better watch out. The Americans are no curling slouches already. They've got a solid grassroots program, albeit in small pockets of the northern states, but the sport got a lot of coverage in the U.S. during the Milano Cortina Games, just wrapped up, and while the U.S. won silver in mixed doubles there, the women finished fourth, and their men finished 4-5 record, missed some playoffs. So they're looking to up their game, and they could do a lot worse than Brad Gushue. And in fact, I'd suggest it'd be hard-pressed to do any better. So congrats again, Brad. It's going to be some shocking weird to see the Gushue name on the back of a U.S. jacket. Just saying. Let's see, elsewhere, of course, Team Canada's first game at the World Hockey Championships is tomorrow, just before lunchtime, our time. And as I mentioned yesterday, big test right out of the gate against Sweden. So going to be some great late-season bonus hockey there overseas. And speaking of great late-season hockey, the Avs are off to the next round. And after dispatching, of course, the Minnesota Wild last night, had to come back to do it in dramatic fashion, mind you, in overtime. And, of course, the Habs and Sabres back at it tonight in Buffalo, all knotted up at 2 games apiece. So the crucial Game 5 tonight, and the winner then on the cusp of moving on. And those on the brink of, and the others on the brink of golf season. And meanwhile, the Hurricanes sit and wait, and as I suggested, either gathering dust or gathering rust. We'll see when they return to the ice for their first game of the next round. And to Vegas, let's see, Vegas and the Ducks are also on tap tonight with the Golden Knights up 3-2. They're on the verge of moving on themselves. And just a quick look at the NBA. The Cleveland Cavs are up 3-2 against the number 1 seed Detroit Pistons. And if the Cavs don't win it all this year, look out next year when, as I mentioned before, and others believe, LeBron returns to where it all started. Bit of a no-brainer there, I think. And as for the Jays, they're entertaining. I'll give them that right now. And they managed to salvage a game of their series with the Tampa Bay Rays last night, despite another blown outing by Hoffman. We can talk about that. No sweat, says Dalton Varsho, who put on the Varsho show with a walk-off grand slam in the 10th. And many hoping that's the spark that sets them off on a run. We shall see. And the Berube era is over in Toronto. Coach Berube was dismissed, let go yesterday, and by era, I mean just 2 years. So he was only there for 2 years. Craig Berube, don't know if that was ever going to work or not, and they just hired a new GM, so it wasn't going to be the GM that was going. So we could talk about the Leafs if you like, if we really have to. Just kidding. Lots of Leafs fans out there, and I'm open to that discussion of all your hopes and dreams going into the future. You won the lottery. What more do you want? And as I mentioned yesterday, the deadline to swap out the studded tires is tomorrow. And let's see, also expecting either today or by tomorrow, we're expecting to hear from Newfoundland MP and Federal Fisheries Minister Joanne Thompson, who's expected to announce, or said she would by mid-month, and this is mid-month, to release the ground rules for the groundfish for this year's recreational, i.e., should I say, residential food fishery. So we'll be keeping an eye out on that, of course. And a quick check-in. I want to just mention the VOCM question of the day today, and you're more than welcome to chime in on this one. And it has to do, of course, with core care, the let's say transformational change that is in the process of being implemented for the entire provincial healthcare system. Try to do a one-stop shopping, if you will. Are you confident that issues related to the implementation of core care will return to normal in the next few weeks? Yes or no? So I did hear Ron Johnson yesterday, VP, mentioning that, they're kind of into week 2 of what they expected would be really the 4-week sort of short-term pain for long-term game. It's just that the short-term pain is, to use a healthcare word, acutely painful right now for many. Whether it's the waiting on this and that, whether it's the uncertainty with some test results and the problems they've had with some inaccurate ones that were accessed on the app. So we're right in the midst of the rollout. They say they're into week 2, as I said. This is apparently supposed to be the toughest part of it. So, it's a wait and see like a lot of things. Speaking of waiting and see, a big week next week. I was going to mention this tomorrow, but somebody mentioned another aspect of it to me this morning. Next week, not just because the House is going to be back in session, but for the Churchill Falls MOU and the grand reveal, if you will, of the expert panel's assessment as reviewed by lawyers Jerome Kennedy and Byrne Coffey. So that's set for next Tuesday, the 19th, when we all return from the long weekend, hopefully if you got it off. Look, the cards have been held very close to chests since then. I mean, you can be sure that the minds that matter most here, whether it's the premiers, or anyone else in cabinet or anyone else who has had a chance to, and I'm sure they all have by now, review the expert panel's report. I'm sure their minds have already been made up, but with time apparently of the essence, we've been forced to wait for a couple of weeks so that all 3 members of the panel could be here in person for the said big reveal. So what do you think? Is there any chance the current Tory government would ever admit that the MOU drafted, say, under the previous Liberal government is good? Will they come out, our bad, sorry for casting unfounded aspersions. We'll even concede the last election, since that's basically how we won it. Or do they do what most people believe will happen and what former Premier Danny Williams has said already has happened and just kill it and draft or agree to something that just, looks different enough that they can lay claim to or take credit for? Let's just hope it's not that political calculation that's going on. You have to believe they're looking at the current financial situation, which earlier alluded to, the gas prices today and this week and not going south anytime soon. It's really set in now with 8 months and a budget under their belts and thinking about the immediate windfalls that could accrue from signing that MOU. The cost of living is out of hand and getting worse every day. Even if Trump and President Xi walked out of their meeting in China right now and said they had a deal to end the war in Iran, the pain will not stop immediately. As a matter of fact, most experts would agree that relief from the current prices we're all seeing for fuel and food, not going to see any relief for that at least a year, if at all, maybe, in some cases. Maybe a bar has been set and will never go back below $2. Somebody said to me the other day for gas. I hate to think about that. And with suggestions, there might be more government relief in the fall as well. The government has alluded to that. If the situation continues the way it's going, and most agree it will, they'll need money for that too. And I'm sure they'd relish that new stream of cash on top of the increased royalties they are currently raking in from those said increased gas and oil prices. So there you go for a barrel of oil. And so there's a lot of meat on the bone. I have a phone caller, and that's always the priority. Are we going to take a call, Dave? Oh, okay. That's still a work in progress. Speaking of oil and gas, and I mentioned this in my chat earlier this morning with your VOCM mornings, Russell Bowers and Jerry Lynn Mackey, the PM Carney, Prime Minister, and Alberta Premier Daniel Smith, they're expected to announce a deal on carbon pricing and the pipeline tomorrow. Sources from all corners are saying this, and honestly, I don't know what to make of the timing. After yesterday, of course, a judge in Alberta from the Queen's Bench quashed an approval of a petition that the government had given, approval of this petition seeking a referendum on Alberta independence. They quashed that approval. Okay, I think I'll wait. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm getting notes in my ear. That's all good. Quash the approval of the petition that the government had put forward for the said referendum later on in the fall. So Premier Smith, interesting wording, very carefully chosen words. If you believe these things, she supports Alberta staying in Canada. Those were her words. I support Alberta staying in Canada. She could have easily said she opposes separation, but did not. She has to preach to all the bases. Then there are a lot of bases in Alberta right now, and she's trying to, I think, appease a lot of people. So the judge's decision puts the future of Stay Free Alberta's independence petition certainly in question, to say the least. They say they have more than 300,000 names, of course, but then the petition itself, the Privacy Commissioner, and of course we know now that voters' lists were leaked, and the access to those, all that private information, including former Premier Jason Kenney, was all released, so the murkiness around that continues. And the main reason, of course, the petition was quashed by the judge was that there was no consultation, or, they have a duty to consult, as it states, to consult with First Nations, who hold the original land and treaty rights for the province and its boundaries. And we all knew this. Everyone all knew this. It's the constitutional roundabouts of this. And, so really the judge's decision, not really a surprise in most corners, but a process they certainly had to go through. And the Premier Smith, of course, calls it all pretty mercury. The government plans to appeal. The Alberta government plans to appeal the judges. She also called the decision, which is getting a lot of pushback, undemocratic. And when you get to tearing down judges or criticizing their rulings, that can be done. Everybody loves a judge's ruling when it's in your favor, until it's not. So I guess the question is, if this judge's ruling was undemocratic, and the government of Alberta wins on appeal, will that be undemocratic? Or is that okay then? Hard to know. I'm looking for your calls on that. And also, there's the notwithstanding clause when it comes to the constitutional provisions here. That would not apply to the treaty rights arguments. So the outstanding clause could, basically override the fundamental charter rights for up to 5 years. That could prevent courts from striking down those laws, but it doesn't apply to treaty rights. So according to a couple of constitutional lawyers I've seen and heard from. And, I hear I heard a lawyer for the Stay Free Alberta crowd yesterday saying the decision has made people angry. Great. A lot of angry people just got a lot angrier. That's all we need. A little kindness and a little happier would be good. The sun is doing it for me. I hope it's doing it for you. Let's take our first little pause for the morning here. Come back. We got lots of calls in the queue, but we'd love to have yours as well. Right after the break on this Thursday morning. Let's get to it. And welcome to the Thursday edition again. Let's not waste any time. Let's go right to line number 2. And Dr. Ashley Wagmar with the President of the Pharmacists Association of Newfoundland and Labrador. You are on the air.
Hi, how's it going?
Great for a Thursday. Look, the sun does wonders.
100%. It feels like spring might finally be here, though. We shouldn't say that too soon.
Oh, shh. A little bit of rain, a little bit of whatever coming the weekend. But yeah, we're through it. I'd like to think, just like the Jays, we just turned the corner today. That's it.
I hope so.
Yes, Dr. Wagmar. So, let's talk shingles. Affects such a large percentage of the population. The rollout last year appears to have been pretty popular success, to say the least. The uptake's been great. So go right ahead. I guess.
We're super impressed to see the numbers. So I was kind of made aware of it. There was a recent article out as well. So they're not exactly our numbers, but they come from the same place that ours come from the government, I assume. So was really impressed to see the high uptake. So it was about a year ago. This shingles program was announced, and that included, as of September, anyone 50 plus was eligible to receive the shingles vaccine. So I think what I read was that it's about a third of the eligible population has now received the vaccine, which is fantastic to hear. It's around 76,000, which is a pretty high number, and I know a lot of those have been administered by pharmacies. So we're super impressed to see the numbers. But I always think of, spring, summer, this time of year, not really a time where a lot of people are thinking about vaccination. We kind of associate that with the fall. So it's kind of good to be talking about this again, maybe reminding people that it's a great time to go out and get your shingles vaccine, as there is so many complications with shingles. And I really think that anyone who's eligible for this should head out, ideally to the pharmacy, and look at getting vaccinated.
Yeah, and we hear the term all the time, and of course this is the no-brainer question, but just for people, I did have someone last week ask me, and very straightforwardly, a stranger, someone I didn't really know, we just passed thing, and then we're talking, I heard somebody talking about shingles, and they asked me if it was contagious. And so, and I didn't I'm not suggesting it was a stupid question, because really there should be no such thing. If you don't know something, asking the question is how you find out. But just to review, just what shingles is and how it manifests and the treatment, that can be, and how the vaccination can help.
Yeah, so shingles, basically, it's kind of a reactivation of a virus in us. So most of us had chickenpox as a kid, and basically it's the same virus that causes chickenpox, but later in life it can cause a much generally more serious infection. Chickenpox can have complications, of course, but is generally not as severe as shingles. And basically reactivation of that. It is contagious, so if you do get shingles, you are supposed to, stay away from other people. Once usually the blisters that can form with shingles scab over and crust over, it tends not to be contagious anymore. But yes, it is contagious. Just because you're exposed to someone with shingles doesn't mean you will get it, but you are exposed, and it can be contagious to you.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly, and I had to think about it myself because knock on wood, I'm lucky. I do not, and I have not. But again, it's just for anyone who does, and the numbers. Somebody sent me an email here, Dr. Wagmar, just their own experience with their nan a few years ago, and talked about that people thought there was so much involved with it. They wanted to get messages off to the government how important it was to fund the vaccine. People thought it might cost a lot more money to do that. But she did some of her own research, finding that, it actually saves money for the government, and it makes eminent amount of sense.
It absolutely does. I feel shingles is something that doesn't really get attention until, you know someone or you yourself have it, because it really is a nasty virus and really impacts people negatively, not just always in the short term, but in the long term. So one of the biggest things we see is the development of something called post-herpetic neuralgia, which is nerve pain related to the shingles virus. And a lot of people live with that for the rest of their lives after. So that means that a lot of people end up on chronic medication to treat that pain. So it is like, at the end of the day, there obviously is an upfront investment to funding the vaccine, but I think in the long term, we will definitely see healthcare savings and overall better health for our population. Particularly here in Newfoundland, we have an older population, so the risk of getting shingles increases as you age, and it also increases if you have comorbidities like diabetes and cardiovascular disease, which of course, here in Newfoundland, we have such a high incidence of both diabetes and cardiovascular disease.
Yes, well known and well documented. I think the government budgeted $800,000 for the vaccine, I think, for this calendar year, 26-27, and they say they have a strong supply. Was that ever an issue?
So as far as I know, there has never been a supply issue. Now, the way it is obtained, like through pharmacies, is we do get from the government supply, and we administer it in pharmacies. So it may sometimes take a while to get that vaccine just through the ordering process. So I always tell people, if you are looking to get it, if you're hearing this today and thinking, I should go and get this, I always recommend calling ahead. You might not be able to just walk in and get it the same day, depending on if they have supply on hand. But as far as I know, there is no issue in us actually getting any supply.
And is it just that simple and low maintenance where you walk in, it's free, you ask for it, if they have it, you get it?
Well, it depends on the pharmacy, so I usually recommend calling ahead. Some like to book appointments. Some might run a clinic every so many weeks and kind of, do so many people at the same time. But it is pretty much that simple. If you book an appointment or call ahead, find out a good time to go in, you go and you get your first shot, and there is a second vaccine to get between 2 and 6 months after the first, and that's basically just to give you a longer, more lifelong immunity to it.
And is there anything you should be...
Very important to get that second shot. I always have to remind people, very important not to forget it. Put it in your calendar.
I'm glad you mentioned that, the second follow-up. Of course, it's something that they would make very clear, I guess, when you get the first one.
Absolutely.
At the time, so that's for sure. But nothing else to be brought, if you're getting that, people wonder, do I have to bring the MCP? Do I have to bring type of ID? Do I have to prove that I'm at risk? Anything like that?
I always recommend bringing your MCP regardless, but generally if it's a pharmacy that you've been going to, they usually have all of your information on file. But, it never hurts to bring it just to make sure that they can make sure they're documenting everything under the correct patient.
Yeah. Great stuff, Dr. Wagner. I really appreciate that. It can't be put into the fore enough. Really, one of these things. 1 in 3, I think, is that fair? 1 in 3 people may or may be exposed or may get shingles over their lifetime. Is that an accurate number still?
As far as I know, I believe so. I can't say the exact number. Like I said, I just know that as you age, so particularly those over the age of 60, your risk increases from, I can't remember the exact stat, but your risk goes up significantly once you hit that age 60. So obviously it's eligible for those 50 and above, but those particularly 60 and above, I'll definitely put in a plug here. Definitely you should be looking at going and getting it.
Right. And just, as a wrap-up, it's not the only service that pharmacists provide, of course, but how are the front lines these days?
They're busy. They're always busy. I feel I always say that, and I feel healthcare is busy these days. But, I'm really proud that our pharmacists are out there and they're able to provide so many fantastic services to the residents of Newfoundland. So even though it's busy, I think they're happy to be helping with the overall population of their patients. And I actually, I would also like to add that if you do find that you think you have shingles, that is actually something that pharmacists can now assess and prescribe for as well. So there is no delay in getting treatment for shingles, as the quicker you can access antiviral therapy, the better your outcomes will be. So although we're talking about the vaccines, I will also mention that because it's something a lot of people don't know. So if you do find yourself in that situation, definitely go to your pharmacist and talk to them and see what they can do for you.
That's fantastic. And just full disclosure, my stepdaughter is a pharmacist, just graduated a couple of years ago, and on the front lines and behind the counter in Metro. So shout out to her this morning.
I love that. I love that. That's great. We need a lot more of them. So it's great to hear.
That's great, and it's great to hear from you too, Dr. Ashley Wagmar, the president of the Pharmacists Association of Newfoundland and Labrador. Thank you very much for your time today. I know there's a lot of ears on that one this morning.
Thanks so much.
Take care. All right, great call. Let's take our first little pause of the morning. I'll be right back with David's going to talk crime, and Randy wants to talk tinted windows after the break. And welcome back to the show on this Thursday. Let's go to line number 3, and David, you're on the air.
Good morning. It's a great day to be alive.
It's every day, I guess you could argue, but when you're splitting the rocks like this, David, I have no argument right here. I can't take my eyes off it, even though it's through like 4 panes of glass. I can see the sun, I can see the blue, and I'm happy.
Yes, days ending in Y are fabulous.
Right on.
I live on Empire Avenue.
Okay.
And I've lived there for a number of years. I have really great neighbors. A lot of new Canadians are coming in, but I have to say now I'm a little afraid, and I have to tell people to be careful, and we have to do some things. We can't let it happen. I just want to tell you what I see in my neighborhood.
Absolutely. Fire away. And just so you know, I'm in that bit of a neighborhood as well. I back onto Empire, but down more towards Kitty Vitty.
Yeah.
So I can relate. Anyway, go for it. Sorry.
I used to call it like dollar drama, and I used to go up to Dope Walk Lane. I used to be like a little bit of fun and everything else. But now, like in the supermarket, it used to happen in like 5 o'clock in the morning, like there'd be people coming in and taking things. Now it's like 7 o'clock at night, and they just continue to do it. Recently, the gentleman out there by the Pepsi building out there got his windshield all broken up with I think it was a rock by a gentleman there.
Yes, I saw that.
And it's crazy. The people around are dangerous. Some have zip knives. Okay, like don't worry about the needles. These guys got zip knives. They will. I mean, it's crazy. Some people are disoriented, and sometimes you say hello to them, and sometimes you really don't know. And now it's getting in like we're kind of usual now. Like we don't get out of bed now unless we hear 3 gunshots. Like it's so ridiculous. I mean, it's crazy. I go there and I see drugs in toolboxes in the back of trucks. I see people going through the parking lot with baseball bats, and I know they're not playing baseball. There is something happening here. There's theft in the middle of the afternoon. I live on Empire, and I see a 4-foot big screen TV going down the sidewalk on 2 bikes at 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, someone owns them. I'm sure they're not moving.
Not going to a watch party.
No, I like it is like they steal eaves trough off the building. They steal my rocks in my rock garden. They steal my plants. They walk into my house. There's needles over into the daycare. Like we have to do something. Like we have to be very, very careful. I think it is becoming a melting pot for violence, and it's not just here. It is in other places in St. John's and elsewhere. Like we have to do something. We have grown to this, like it is accepted. Oh yeah, it's bad and everything else, and I don't want to hang around there and everything else like that. But we, as a group of people, have to say no. That's enough. We just got to stop this and say, like people going around with lunch boxes full of jewelry, like it's really unusual stuff. There's nothing wrong with that, of course. I suppose everybody does it. I don't know, but it's wild. I mean, for a while there, I was on the speed dial for the RNC. I think my record is 7, 3, and 2. That's 7 police cars, 3 ambulances, and 2 fire trucks near me. So as Newfoundlanders, we're all sort of looking at the situation here, but we got to do something, and we got to just say, because I said, look, with the cost of stuff coming in here, now I know that we're going to get a tackle bill, which I know is going to be really great. I just think that we got to do something, and I just think that it's really, really, like, it's going to explode.
David,
it really is.
It's a popular and not a good opinion, popular and sad opinion, because it's absolutely true. And until you're directly affected, you won't get a call unless you're someone like you who sees it every day and is deeply concerned about it and sees the realities of it. And all of this is reflected in the changes, that the RNC and others are doing. RCMP, we saw the announcement the other day of special constables, so they can redirect the actual, and I say actual police officers, no offense to the special constables, but the frontline officers to where we need them, and we need them in a lot of places these days. As you may know, David, I've covered the courts for 25 to 30 years, and what you're talking about is spot on. It is the changes, the crime, the different types of crime. The desperation is real, as you said. It's not just under cover of darkness anymore. Nobody cares. There seems to be a complete obliviousness to the crime in the light of day. It doesn't matter. It's every man, woman, and child for themselves right now. And, the desperation, the cost of living and everything has just made it worse. You compound that with the epidemic mental health crisis that we're in the midst of, the addictions epidemic we're in the midst of. And, boy, you put all those pieces together, and it's a recipe for what you're describing. And as you said, right, it's not just Metro. I mean, CBN, we know the hyper, focus on the crime in Conception Bay North. When I just took this position on, I was covering 2 first-degree murder trials related to that area, and there's 3 or 4 ongoing now that are all drug and drug-related. There's 3, I think, just right now before the courts in the Rabbitown area. From crimes there, from deaths, murders, and or manslaughters. I mean, actually, if you include manslaughter, we're up to 7. And I've sat through the court process, and it's all linked back to drugs and addiction and mental health.
I thank everybody that's helping. I thank the police. I thank everybody that's working in the stores. I really like the neighbors. I like the people in the area. But I don't think there's one day I can go up there and I don't see something really unusual. And I said, what's happening? What the hell is this all about? And it's just like, well, whatever, or, we all kind of are a bit blasé about it. And I just feel that I felt that I should say something. I really did. And
I'm glad you did, because you're speaking for a lot of people. A lot of people nodding their heads right now. David, when you said you're on speed dial, with the RNC, how has the response been? I have no doubt, and this isn't...
Great. Yep. Great, excellent, no problem. Great bunch. People have no idea what they go through. People have no idea what they must deal with and all the time. And if you see them having a coffee somewhere, leave them alone, because you don't know what they're dealing with. I have full respect for them.
Yep, or thank you. Just in passing, you don't have to get a response, but just something that says, yeah, I envy or feel for what you're doing. And it speaks to the retention and recruitment. Crime has changed. The RNC chief, Pat Roach, who I've invited on this program, he's, I think, mulling it over, according to the communications. He has been, certainly not pulled any punches. He's been very blunt about acknowledging that the gun crime, the drug crime, it has changed dramatically in, say, the last 10 to 20 years, and only getting worse. I am saying it. I don't want to be that negative, but I see it in the courts every day. It's what they have to handle, and we talk about the court delays. Everybody is up against it, and it's a domino effect right across the justice system. There's no question, and across the communities who have to deal with this, like you said, on a regular basis. Do you reconsider where you're living? Has it come to that?
No. And I've known Pat Roach for many, many years, and he is a good man, and he's doing good things. But I'm telling you, it is not easy. I'm sure it's not easy.
No, sir.
But I just think that it's happening. Like, you go to the Avalon Mall, there's stuff happening there. To the Village, McDonald's. We as a people got to say, enough is enough. We got to do something, and we got to say, this is not right. And you can't be just pass it by. You got to say, boys, there's something happening here, like it's crazy.
And we have to be careful. You're right. I mean, I have a lot of sympathy. Whenever I'm walking into a grocery store, I'll at least say how you doing. If I've got change, they get it. But you get some strange looks sometimes, and you have to just be careful. There's an unpredictability to those interactions these days that I don't think we contemplated in the past. David, I appreciate the call. These are important phone calls, and I welcome anyone else because, look, bottom line, the more calls we have, the more it's in the public consciousness and awareness. So I really appreciate you taking the time. Everybody's got busy times, but taking the time to call us today and put this out there and remind people of what's going on and what you've been through is really key. So I thank you for that.
And thank you, and have a great day. And Newfoundland is a safe place. We just got to be a little bit more cognizant about what we should do. We're becoming much more worldly. I'll say that. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Take care, you too. That's David, yes. And look, I did mention there to David that I was, covering courts mostly until I took this gig. And so I'm not down there anymore, but I am going to do my best here on the program. And we've been working our way through this, how to get a workflow going for myself to try to continue to at least keep updates on the most important cases. As you may have heard, there's an ad going around, and we are hiring a new journalist, and that's going to be great. But until that happens, and we have that, they've lost a body out of the newsroom, and that body was me down covering the courts. So there are a number of them that I'm keeping an eye on. The most, sadly, I have to keep the most on an eye on the most important ones that I'll update here on the show. For example, I'll just give you one quick example before we get to the break. The case of the gentleman, young man, 19-year-old Zach Mulrooney. Now, he's been free on conditions. He's been charged in the drug overdose death of a teenager. You may have, story's been in the news since earlier this year. He was arrested again recently for allegedly drug dealing again while he was out on conditions. So this is the case where he's accused of knowingly giving a 14-year-old boy, Axel Martin, a toxic mix of synthetic opioids instead of the dilaudid pills he was expecting. And he was charged with manslaughter, really a first in this province for this kind of a crime, linking them directly to the drugs that were sold. And it's working its way through the courts, and that's a big case we got to keep an eye on because we have people from all over the island and the province messaging me from time to time about these problems, about the people who are pushing the drugs onto the street. And sometimes in this case, intentionally, toxic mixes that they know will kill. It's just beyond the pale. So just one case. There's many others. They're in court every day. I'm going to try to keep an eye on it. So just an update on that. And on a regular basis, I'll have a little segment where I'll just try to update those until we get up and running a little bit more manpower and put someone back into courts, and we'll try to cover cases such as, and we can talk about the Dean Penny case, of course, on the West Coast, following it closely. I covered a case very similar to this. You may recall the Nelson Hart trial in Gander going back about almost 20 years now. But anyway, enough on that. That's the court side of things, and I thank Dave again for his comments and making sure, not that we need to, that this is right on the top of the list of priorities for our province and for law enforcement. All right, let's take a little pause here. We're going to come back as promised. Randy wants to talk about tinted windows. So do I. And Terry Hillier, the VP of Harbour Authority Association, coming up. And welcome back to Open Line for this Thursday edition. Let's go to line number 2. And Terry Hillier, the president of the Ballyne Harbour Authority and VP, Harbour Authority Association of Newfoundland and Labrador. You're on the air.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Morning, Terry. Thanks for being available. So we saw this announcement last week earlier this week from Joanne Thompson with was it last week or this week? Yeah, it was just a couple of days ago. My timing is last Friday, right, or almost a week ago. Whoa. There's no news on the go today, Terry, so I'm trying. So it's like it's the proverbial fire hose. But I also just wanted to congratulate you on the National Award of Excellence for individual initiatives from small craft harbors. Congratulations. I think you received the award for individual achievement.
Yes, I did. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I know we're not in this for awards, but good on you.
No.
What did you make of the minister's announcement last week?
Overjoyed. Long overdue. I think it's going to be a great benefit to all harbour authorities across Canada, not only just for Newfoundland and Labrador. As you know, a lot of people are probably not aware, climate change, the weather's changing, and due to the excess storm surges and higher tides, the infrastructure is failing. So it couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah, and this was just so a little bit of background. So that's almost $1 billion. $958 million was the number to repair and upgrade small craft harbors. Going to be spread across Canada, of course. Be nice if Balleen got all that. Hey, what could you do there?
It would be wonderful, but I don't think that's going to happen. But it is it's $195 million a year for the next 5 years. Now, one thing I can say for everyone that's listening is that Newfoundland and Labrador does get 30% of that.
Right. And has there been a clear delineation of how and where the money will go?
No, there's not. It's there's a group that meet at the national level, Director General and her staff, and they get recommendations from all harbors, and then they'll go through a prioritized list of, okay, who's in greater need and things like that, right?
Right. And we know that Petty Harbour, the announcement was made in Petty Harbour, and so there's plans for a new one there. How's the situation in Balleen these days, and what would be the priority there? What do you need the most?
We need some upgrades to our main wharf right now, and our requests have been submitted to small craft. And I know that the group will be meeting here very soon to decide on, where we fall on the priority list. For myself, being the vice president of HANL, the Harbour Authority Association, Newfoundland and Labrador, we speak to small craft harbors on behalf of all the harbors in Newfoundland and Labrador. So I don't really plug Balleen so much as I do the rest of Newfoundland, because you got to be fair when it comes to it, because some harbors are in worse shape than us.
Absolutely. I can think of Trepassey. I can think of, the usual suspects. Placentia breakwater has always been an issue, but boy, Trepassey gets nailed every time. Hey, it's just such an open area there, right along that. You drive through, you can just see the exposed area. It's ripe for damage all the time. Hey.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest issues that is concerning to small craft harbors and us right now is lack of contractors.
Yeah, no.
It's hard to find the contractor.
Yeah, are there projects currently on hold just for that reason?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Can you just name a few that are in the queue and just stalled right now because the labor and the contractors aren't?
I don't know. I don't have that information right now. That's something that small craft harbor kind of keeps to themselves for now. But we hear from different harbors that they need things, and it does take a time. The process is fairly lengthy to get these projects approved, as with any federal government funding initiative. But we are working for these harbors, and we just ask that people be patient. We are doing our best to get everything done for every harbor, but off of hand right now, I can't say what harbor is in desperate need.
Yeah, and as you said, many of them have it. When you say contractors, what's their reason? Is it the labor? Is it the supply? Is it what exactly is causing that issue?
A lot of it is supply, but some of the bigger issues, when you're dealing with harbors, you're looking at a contractor that chances are they're going to need to have a barge. And a lot of contractors in the island don't have that type of equipment. So, and the ones that do are constantly working on harbors. So that increases the wait time to get projects completed as well, right?
Yeah, no, I could see the backlog. You have to, assuming the barge is there just to be able to do the grind work on the water as opposed to only from shore, obviously, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting times. We know there's no shortage of it. We just had the mayor of Red Bay on earlier, still trying to, and are you familiar with the situation with the Red Bay and the visit next year of the San Juan and what they're looking for, and how is the Harbour Authority supporting them?
I'm not up on that issue right yet, but after I get off the call today, I will be looking into that and see, what's going on out there for sure. The one thing I'd like to pass on to everyone is just remember that, all harbor authorities, we're all volunteers. And, we're trying our best. And we just ask that people just be patient with us.
Yeah, patience is a virtue more than ever these days. Terry Hillier, the VP of the Harbour Authority, and of course with the Balleen Authority. Thanks for the call today. Anything else that you just wanted to put out there that I haven't asked you about?
No, just wish all the fishermen out there and everyone a safe season and good luck.
Great stuff. Thanks, Terry. I really appreciate the call. Don't be a stranger.
Thank you.
Great. Take care. All right, Terry Hillier there. And just a minute or so to go before we get to the news here. I just wanted to pass along. We were talking about shingles earlier on the program. We had the president, Dr. Ashley Wagmar of the Pharmacists Association of Newfoundland and Labrador, on the program talking about the availability, and I had an email, Dave. My God, I'm switching back and forth between the two or three. Yes, I had a shot back in 2017 is one email, which was back then one shot, and I have to get a new shot. But there was another comment there that I thought was particularly apropos, and of course I'm not going to find it right now, am I, Dave? Let's do a little quick. Yes, my nan, there it is. My nan had shingles a while back. I did some research on the vaccine to send whoever would listen to encourage the NL government to fund the vaccine. And I heard the conversation that it might cost us money. That's actually not true. It would save money, as Dr. Wagmar had pointed out, and a decent amount of it. Beyond that, it would save the strain on NL's health system, but you can't put a number on that. And the stats, of course, bit old, they mention here 2022, but still stands. The number, a bit off, but the actual numbers of seniors over 50. 1 in 3 people get shingles, and 10% of Canadians over the age of 60 will be admitted to hospital due to shingles. So there's your healthcare savings in a nutshell right there. Okay, let's take the news at 10 a.m. right on time for a change. I'm getting there. I'm finding a rhythm, Dave. Let's go off to the news, and we'll be right back with Open Line, looking for your calls right after the news. And thank you to Sarah Strickland with the news. She's back there basking in the glow of the walk-off, Dalton Varshaw's walk-off Grand Slam last night for the Jays. I'll bet you, no doubt. Let's go to line number 1, and Randy, you're on the air.
Hello, my buddy.
How's it going?
I'm Eric. I was trying to get hold of you yesterday, but I was too late.
Well, it gets away from us sometimes. Hey, late in the show yesterday, we just had about 5 or 6 calls straight after the other, and we tried to fit them all in, but I'm glad you're here now.
Yeah. I was talking to David there yesterday.
Yep.
And what I'm about to say, he agrees with me. Black tinted windows. We're at the parking lot there yesterday, and there was a van pulled up with black tinted windows, and a car on the outside with tinted windows. I had to get out of the car and call the driver back. Someone got to get killed before something was done.
Yeah, how do you just tell me what your thinking is, Randy? How is the tinted window, if you're looking at it yourself, if your car passes you see a car with tinted windows, how does that affect, just for the devil's advocate here, how does it affect safety? Your safety, if you see a car.
You don't know if there's a car coming down the road or not, because the black windows blacks it. But you can see out, but people can't see through the windows. Yeah,
I don't look at cars next to me. I gave up on that a long time ago when there was a little situation at an intersection, shall we say, and one glance sideways. That's all it needed, and the guy took some kind of offense. I still have no idea what was going on, and next thing you know, he was getting out of his car. Fortunately, the light turned green, and I drove on, but he was in the lane next to me. And the tinted windows, sure, they were all up black, but the minute it came down, it was an angry look. I don't know what was going on, but go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to...
I don't want people having tinted windows and light tinted windows, but not the black ones.
Just completely black. I mean, look, it's the law, right? There's no aftermarket tint film, any kind. Aftermarket is not permitted on the windshield and front side windows. The rear windows, you can have any kind of shade of tint as long as it's behind the driver. And there's reflective tint that causes, some glare and reflection. That's prohibited for safety reasons. But the hard thing for me, Randy, how do you police it? I mean, police are up to their necks as it is. I mean, you really...
I know that.
You would think that it would have to be some other issue that they'd have a reason for pulling them over, maybe a little more important, and then the windows could be part of it. But what do you think?
Well, I think someone will get killed before something's done.
So what needs to be done?
People with this house don't have to tint the windows. You think it's cool and all that? It's been stupid.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool thing. I can't see any other reason. Or privacy. You just don't want to see people to see what's going on inside your vehicle, and the police need to. And that's why the law is there, you know.
Something got to be done.
Well, the powers that be are listening. Again, my issue, I guess, is with all the things going on, it's not that any law shouldn't be shunned or not, enforced. But when you look at the priorities for me, I think, and the priorities for the police have shifted somewhat. We were just discussing the crime rates and that sort of thing a moment ago. With all the things that police have on their hands these days, pulling a vehicle over for anything can take 15, 20 minutes if you're actually issuing a ticket. If everything's good, they move on. But I'm not sure how much time they all have to be pulling over cars for tinted windows, unfortunately, these days.
I don't know, but something got to be done.
Yep. And listen, you're not alone. So I appreciate that. Anything else?
No, that's it, buddy.
Goodbye. Don't be strange. Okay,
buddy.
All right, take care.
All right.
Bye. Yep. Any views at all on that? If anyone wants to share, caller. There's two there. No. Okay. And again, just going on. So yeah, the exceptions are clear, colorless UV protection films. That's they're permitted. A light tint strip, which some might refer to as a sunscreening device, that's allowed at the top of the windshield. And as I said, police do have these tint meters that they can measure, the amount of light that's coming through it, that's coming through your windshield or your side windows. But I don't know how often. It'd be an interesting question. I just don't know how often they're pulling over people and actually going through the tint meter test. Dave, am I taking number 3? No? Okay. Again, work in progress. All right. And again, going back to, as I mentioned, the court matters, the Dean Penny trial, I mentioned this, and again, I'd be out there covering it with any luck if I wasn't in the chair. And I do have some experience with it. And anyone in the Gander area would recall the Nelson Hart trial 20 years ago, almost now, in 2007. And this was, again, the template. And I'm not going to get too much into the actual specifics of the Dean Penny murder trial because it is a jury trial. But the evidence clearly, the key evidence that the Crown has is the Mr. Big sting, where, the police pose as crime bosses and crime participants, in organized crime, and they lure you in. And with all kinds of promises of this, that, and the other thing, all of it being a guise, of course, to try to extract a confession. And so we'll wait till the trial concludes before I go any further than that. But suffice to say, they're getting down to the nitty-gritty. And so from what I understand, that I think Justice Vikas Kaladkar, the judge on this trial, has suggested to the jurors that they bring their suitcases the next time. I think it's tomorrow or today. I know the Crown has been in the cross-examination. Again, it's really doing my best to keep up on all the court news here while taking over the show as well. But again, we were initially, just as a reminder, we did petition the court. There was an application put forth by the CBC on behalf of all media to get virtual access, at the very least, to this trial. But we were denied, and the application was turned down by the judge. Now, I haven't read his decision, but we do know that from the start, issues and delays with the court system, including shortages of staff, including sheriff's officers, were a problem from the start. I guess they looked at the priority of certain cases, and the first-degree murder trial couldn't be held up like that. So they've now made sure that there's no more delays, especially as they get to the jury deliberations and that sort of thing in the trial. And they've been shifting sheriff's officers around, of course, which caused the closure of the courts and temporary closure in Wabush, the provincial court there, and the Supreme Court in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Now, the Justice Minister has said that no trials or matters were, unnecessarily or delayed or impacted, I should say, by those staffing issues, but they've made sure that they have the right complement of sheriff's officers there, of course, for this trial and the other big trials that are going on. And there are many coming up. And as I said, on a regular basis now, I'll try to, at least in note form, go through some of the bigger ones. We still have the Tony Humby matter is still before the courts here in St. John's. And by the end of the month, they'll be back in court on that one. There's been any number of delays there, and Jordan issues are absolutely in play as many people are concerned how that will go, to what extent the defense or the Crown will be found responsible for those delays, and that'll factor into whether or not any of the charges, some or all of the charges against Tony Humby, could be dismissed if they find that the delays there were primarily on the Crown. So we will see what happens there. But just an example, there are some big cases still before the courts, and I will do my utmost here on the program to update them now on a regular basis as we move forward, just trying to find that sweet spot of workflow to make sure that I get all my ducks in a row on that and give you the most accurate and timely information possible. Right on the 10:15 pause, we're going to take that one and back with Chad speaking French Shore Academy and Elizabeth Panashway. I really look forward to the eminent Innu elder from Labrador, Elizabeth Panashway, still there. I look forward to that chat after the break. And welcome back. Let's go to line number one. Chad, you're on the air.
Good day, sir. Just calling. I'm wondering what's going on with the graduation system in French Shore Academy. My uncle was graduating and leaving school with no diploma.
This is French Shore Academy, Port Saunders, right? Is that right?
Port Saunders, yes.
Oh, okay. Yes. Thank you. Got that one out of the my brain works sometimes. I'm not sure. It's the first time hearing of it.
The young fellow went to school and he graduated. He's doing some kind of course, special needs case, IRT program, and instead of him learning, actually doing something, they're making cans and bottles and serve the youngsters in the cafeteria. What's wrong with the system? Teachers don't want to do their jobs or something or not?
I really don't know. What you're telling me is news. I haven't heard this yet. I'm just scrolling through now. I'm having a look at the French Shore Academy sites and that sort of thing. I don't see any, specific mention or any. There's lots there about Mental Health Week, of course.
I went to the school last week and spoke to the principal, and he told me, because Christopher made me aware of it, that he was leaving school with no diploma. There's a leaving school certificate.
And what did the principal have to say?
On one side, and what was that?
What did the principal have to say?
Principal, he couldn't give me an answer.
So I just want to be clear. Your son is in what? Just be clear. It's a K-12 school, so he's in grade 12.
Yeah, he's graduating tomorrow.
Okay, and the
kids are going to the rest kids are going to end up with a diploma, and he's getting money.
And again, I just want to understand, why have you been told he's not getting his diploma?
Because he don't meet the criteria.
Did he pass all of his courses and the regular credits that you need?
Well, they just said he's not getting regular credits. He's doing this IRT program.
Right, but upon enrolling in that or being a part of that IRT, which most schools have.
Yeah, but it's laying on youngsters, as far as I'm concerned, telling them what they can do and what they can't do. The schools, they're supposed to leave them to their potential, not to make them feel lower than anybody else.
Absolutely, it's not all about the academic, not all about the marks. There's no question about that. I'm just wondering. This seems pretty late in the game, though, Chad. Like you're just learning this now, a day before he's about to graduate.
Hearing all this, like I said last week, and when I got the email back from the principal, and then the teacher called me yesterday, wondering why the school went to work on the war to make money for himself because he don't feel like he's better. He can go to secondary school. He's only allowed to do specific stuff.
So if he's been doing that work on the wharf, how long is he missing much? How much school has he missed?
Well, it's only in the last week or so. But I guess his courage is killed. Because when you say he's going to school and they're going to leave school, the rest of them are going to leave with a diploma, and he's not going to get anywhere.
Did you call or send an email asking about what's going on, or did they initiate it and send you an email?
I spoke to the principal personally.
And the first time you spoke to him was just when about this?
Last week, because I've been away working.
And you just got a note last week saying that he doesn't qualify to graduate or get a diploma.
They want me to criteria. I get the email there on my phone.
Okay, there seems to be an issue here. Now, I don't know exactly. I don't have access to all of the information here. And where it's a personal situation, I doubt privacy rules will allow us, to allow any officials to get involved individually in an individual case.
But I think something got to be done in the system because this is ridiculous.
So it appears on the face of it that just academically he wouldn't have the credits or just the on paper what he needs to graduate, whether it's credits, whether it's time in school. But you're saying that should be accommodation here for.
No, I'm not saying accommodation. There should be challenging youngsters like they've done years ago. Teachers not doing the job. Is what I'm saying.
In what way?
In what way? They're not teaching youngsters. The computers and everything else teaching youngsters. If they want some youngsters to learn, to get out and be able to face the real world where everything's going now, they haven't got a chance.
There is something to be said for real world learning environments, but look, there's a curriculum here that's been, put in place by departments of education, and it's consistent across the board, especially in this province. And it's well known and it's documented and it's not new. I mean, it seems like someone could have been more proactive here to see this coming and have a discussion at least before the final week before school. Was there ever any indication that this would be a problem before last week?
No. I'm going by what Christopher told me, and then I went when he brought that to my attention, I went to the school.
And had a cordial meeting, I hope, with the principal. How was your meeting with the principal? How would you describe the meeting with?
It was good.
Yep.
But he couldn't give me no answers on why he was leaving school with no diploma.
So
he was in the special needs program, IRT, what they call it. But can't live out of the games. He can learn that on.
Oh, graduation certificates can still be issued in those circumstances. Did the principal make any commitment to go back and check and get you a good, solid answer?
That was the answer they gave me.
That he can't give you one?
No, that he was leaving school with that certificate of completion, but there was not going to be no actual grade 12 graduate diploma.
Okay, it's a new situation on me. I will absolutely admit there's lots of things I don't know. I see what you're saying. I mean, it's not unless somebody can accept that certificate as an equivalent to a grade 12 application, it's going to cause problems. There's no question.
I'm concerned. I should have let him quit school when he went quit 3 or 4 years ago. But I pushed and pushed and pushed and I said, no, you need your education.
Yeah, and that's the right way to go. I mean, quitting school. Look, I'm not going to get into it's your own personal situation. I don't know all the issues at play.
I only got grade 9. I'm not stupid by no means.
No, there's natural smarts and moral smarts and global smarts that we all have, instincts and that sort of thing. But there is an education curriculum for a very good reason. And it does its best under the stresses that are currently existing for staffing and all the rest of it. And the new, issues and risks that were.
Bottles of cans is in education, is it?
Pardon me?
Can't live out of Kansas education.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that, but I just don't know enough about.
That's what my son is going through. There's a lot of youngsters up there that left school because of it, doing the same problem.
Have you contacted anyone outside the school, like with the school board, or even just to run it by your MHA and see if there's any kind of discussions that can be had toward a diploma, or whether just so that
I've done it this way, so at least somebody on the education system listening. So.
Yeah, well, I welcome anyone. Certainly, I don't know how much they'll be able to comment on it, only because of the personal circumstances involved. It's not.
I don't feel it's personal. All I say, the kids is not being labeled as more or less listen.
Yeah, I think I'm just talking about.
But you know where I'm going.
Yes, I do. And the privacy issues, I guess, are what I'm referring to. The last thing we want is the young man's name out there, in the media for whatever reason. That kind of exposure. Yeah. It's really a privacy issue, specific to your family.
Well, no, it's not only my family. There's a lot of families like it. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, we can't really speak to other families except your individual circumstance here. But it's
like
it's
enough. Young was going to leave school. He went to school like I said, I pushed until he went to go get his graduation. That's coming on this evening and tomorrow, and this is what he got. He got to leave school with no diploma.
Will he still be part of all of the normal ceremonies? I hope not.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes, but that's not the point.
Well, there's another.
There's going to be a DFO. Well, anyway, I'll just leave it at that.
His situation is different than the other students. Clearly, if he's been his situation is different from other students in that he's in the IRT program. I assume with other students. Are there other students in that program with him?
He feels that he's he's a very intelligent, smart kid, and he likes to be challenged, but he gets frustrated. And to me, that's just giving up on a youngster.
Yeah, I mean, frustration never a reason. Their minds are still
frustrated,
developing.
Not because he didn't want to do it. He was diagnosed with ADHD.
Yep.
So he's, I know I got it too. My mind is all over the place a lot of times, but when I gotta go to work, it don't stop me from going for what I want.
Yeah.
I got no education either, but
Yeah, I mean, you're developed. Obviously, our brains as adults are developed more than teens who are.
I'm wearing myself since 15 years old, so I know what life is all about.
Sure.
Well,
no one will ever challenge a parent's right to say they know what's best for their child. So I'm sorry for what he's going through and what you're dealing with and the frustration all around. I welcome anyone from the school board or the school that can just give us an idea of how this works. Specifically, I get it. The IRT diploma or certificate would be the alternate, I guess, if the course requirements are not satisfied for an actual graduation. There may be there are categories like that need to be specified when you're leaving the high school, when you're leaving the school curriculum to move on to whatever, whether it's work or post-secondary. People will want to know on a resume what happened. So I understand it could cause problems down the road. And as I said,
exactly.
I welcome anyone with the board or your school to give us a shout and, just in a general sense, I guess, without getting into any privacy issues, to just give us an idea and a picture of what's happening there and what happens at other schools as well. Chad, keep me posted, will you, if you hear anything? And I really hope this goes well for your son tomorrow.
Oh, I hope so.
And congratulations to him completing high school.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.
All right, this Chad there again. Certainly, I'm sure he's not alone, and I'm sure there are other families probably nodding along with situations that are similar to that. Dave, I'm ready to break. Let's take that one and come back with Elizabeth Panashaway right after the break. And welcome back to the program. Let's go right to line number 2 and eminent. Innu Elder Elizabeth Panashaway, always a pleasure. Good morning, and you're on the program. Good morning, Ms. Panashaway.
Yes, yeah, yeah, I heard you. You hear me good?
Yeah, I have you got perfect. How are you today?
Yeah, good, yeah.
Look, I would be remiss. I can just the amount of times we've spoken and the work you have done for the Innu people in Labrador over the decades, and your family, of course, and kinship. Just want to thank you for that right out of the gate. There are so many issues, Ms. Panashaway, that we could delve into here today. But do you have a specific reason or issue you wanted to speak about this morning?
Yeah, I was going to speak on the radio long time. I just worry about my English not very good.
Oh, it's always been great.
Because when I was young, I never go to school. Only sometimes my parents, like my mom, my dad, and my cousins always stay in Nojamit. Nojamit means in the country, in the bush, in the country, people hunting.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why we stay in when I was young. That's why I don't speak English very good.
No, but that education, of course, that education in the country was your education, and look where it's brought you to one of the most, respected positions of an elder in this province. So we thank you for all that.
Yeah, it's very important, very, very important. I told the story many, many times, my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. I said when I was young, always I stay no Jamaica in the country. Mm-hmm. That's why I don't speak English very good. I was going to speak on the radio a long time, and now I'm going to try anyway. Even I don't speak English, I want to try. I want to try so hard.
Mm-hmm. And you're doing fine. Yeah. You're absolutely fine. Whatever you would like to speak about.
I want to speak about the land. Sometimes I sat down I sat down in my house quiet. I'm writing my journal. And I'm writing about the government. When the government, they want to stop what it done, what it doing our land, land. Same thing, Nato Ashish and Shehajit. People here, and I find the government, just like the government, he thinks nobody here in Labrador, nobody in Atoshish, nobody hunt anymore. Maybe that's what he think. But people here, Shehajit and Atoshish, and people are always hunting, and that's when I'm very concerned. What happened? First it happened to force about the dam, and then again Voices Bay, and then Muscat Falls, Gar Island, and I'm very, very sad. I'm very concerned. Sometimes when I think about it, when I write in my journal, I cry. Because people here, Shehajit and Atoshish, thousand years, people always here. And when all people gone, when the people, or should I say die, or, when the people gone, all people, the children, young children, she's going to be here. She's going to be here, Shehajit and Atoshish. And the government, when she's going to think about the children, young children, like where all people gone, young children, she's going to be here until when they get old, like me. I work hard to help my people and the children. Shehajit and Atoshish, I want to help. I'm very concerned to learn. I'm very protect the land. Because people here, Shehajit, and always hunting and very concerned what happened. When she started Voices Bay and Muscat Falls, Gar Island, so many things, so many things destroyed the land, water, animals, everything, medicine, berries, all kind of berries. People always get some to eat, and everything, trees. When I go Muscat Falls, I'm very sad. I'm very sad when I look, and I explain my great son. I say, see what happened. I never see when I was young like that.
Elizabeth, are you still doing your annual walks through the traditional Innu territory up to Muskrat Falls and throughout those areas? I think I've spoken to you a few times after you've done these walks. I know you late in, I think, I'm not going to give away your age, but I know you're in your 80s now. So I'm just wondering, do you still do those walks? And can the compensation, what's given to the Innu in exchange for the land, can that ever make up for the loss?
Yeah. I told my grandchildren and my children, I told sometimes when I sat down together, I said, I think he understands me what I'm talking about and what I'm thinking. I said, before I'm gone, I really, really want to do something, one more one more to show the children, show my people what I'm doing. It's very, very important. Respect the land, and I really want to show the government what, like if this, like when I was walking many years in a canoe trip, a lot of people call me on the phone, and a lot of people send me a letter. Why did you walk, Elizabeth? Can you explain to me? She said, and then I said, I want to show government she should respect the people, respect the children. After the government, she's going to see the people walking in a canoe trip. At that, she should respect, people and the children. And that's what I told my people. And that's what I told my children and my great-grandchildren. I explained some things. We sat down. I said, I really want to do one more thing before I'm gone. Or I don't know when I'm writing. I don't know which one is the best. Which one is the best I should do? Walk or something else? Something else. I'm thinking, I'm writing in my paper. And I'm thinking, if I'm still alive, or if I'm still good health, nothing happened, I really want to do something next spring. But I don't know which one I should do.
You have to make that decision. It's going. I mean, whatever I guess opens your grandchildren, your great grandchildren's eyes the most to the important things and the reasons you've been doing this walk all these years. Elizabeth, only because we've had a great conversation, and I'm so glad you called, but I do have to move on to a break in a moment. Did you want to just give a little summary of what you're planning and let us know when you might decide if you'll do another walk? At your age, I'm sure it may not be physically the easiest thing to do, but maybe that's the message you want to send to your grandchildren.
Yeah. And every time when I pray a lot. Every time when I pray, I ask God, I really want to do in my heart, in my mind, one more thing before I'm gone. And a lot of people, when I last walked, everything was okay. A lot of people support me. A lot of people walk with me. Nato Ashish and Shehajit and the school children. And people call me outside, can I walk with you, Elizabeth? Yes, I said, anyone can walk with me to support the land. Yeah, I'm very concerned what is going to happen.
Elizabeth, there are... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Are you finished? Are you busy?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, one more thing.
Yes, go ahead.
I don't know how to say English. Mesh canoe. I make mesh canoe many years in canoe trip. I make mesh canoe for the children, and all the children I thought I want to make a good mesh canoe before I'm gone. And then when I'm gone, the children she's going to do it. Maybe one of my grandchildren or my great-grandchildren, any children, she's going to do it when I'm gone. I said, don't ever forget. Do the same thing what I'm doing. It's very, very important.
And that would be, I think, probably the best tribute ever, just to pass the torch and those children who've watched you do that. and pick up that walk and continue it, because there are many issues and many reasons to do that, Elizabeth, as you know. There's even the talk now of returning to low-level flying, and I'm sorry to mention that, but that must be another big concern for you. Thank you so much for calling us today, and the lines here are always open for your wisdom and what you plan to do next. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, bye.
Thank you. Elizabeth Panashway, always time for Ms. Panashway on this program and her wisdom and her experience. Let's take a quick break. Coming back with Terry Ryan. Of course, we're going to talk a bit of Habs. We're going to talk a bit of hockey and what Terry's up to these days, not the least of which the Shoresy stuff and everyone else, anything else on that bone. Or can't wait. Right after the break. And welcome back to the program as promised. Let's go to line one and welcome the first-round pick of the Montreal Canadiens in 1995. Terry Ryan, you're on the air.
How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing grand now they got you on the line. We've been trying to probably connect.
Can you hear me fine? I'm in my car. I'm on the go.
You sound great. Yep, absolutely. Not a busy man. You're on the go, all right. We can get into all of that. But listen, first of all, prediction for tonight.
Well, I mean, I'm definitely going with the Habs. My prediction, it's very tight. Another one-goal game, but I'm really getting behind this. I know you're probably going to ask me at some point, but, you know, if you're a hockey fan in general, a lot of people, you know, they're kind of built to maybe hate the Habs or the Leafs or whatever, and I totally understand that. But if you're a Newfoundlander, think outside the box and watch this Alex Newhook. I've said it for years. Like, honestly, Brian, when he grew up, he was the most skilled player. I mean, anybody could have seen that. A non-hockey fan, the most remedial hockey fan, the most beginner, novice of hockey watchers would have realized that he was the most skilled player in his group. But you get there, and you know what he also is? One of the hardest workers I've ever met in my life. Mm-hmm. He's relentless. And these goals that he's getting are hard work goals. Of course, you need a level of skill to play in the NHL and just to be skating around and giving and going and passing at such a high rate. But within that world, there are many that don't work that hard. And I'm telling you right now, I get people look back and you know, at my penalty minutes and everything. Look, people can drop gloves and get penalty minutes. The kind of work that he's putting in, I'm telling you, it's physical. Even the goals that he's gotten directly in front of the net, at least three of them that I can think of, are a result of, within a few seconds earlier, him turning the puck over with a big-time forecheck. And he's playing with players that complement him really well. But it's a great lesson for anybody. Whatever you're good at, I mean, you know, he didn't it's a chicken or egg. Alex, you know, like a lot of all-star players, you're younger and you realize maybe you have something that other people don't. Now I'm on the All-Star. Now I'm captain of the All-Star team here, right? And you can take that and you can go with it. And since day one, man, when he made that decision to be a hockey player, I'm talking back when he was 13 or 14 and left to pursue it, he's always worked hard and he's realized that he's been given a gift. And if you combine that gift with hard work and relentless work ethic and leadership, then it's really going to pay results. And I'm convinced that's a big reason that he's so successful. And when it comes to the playoffs, players like that are rewarded, and it stands out more so than in the regular season. So I'm really happy for him. Of course, I understand people not cheering for the Habs, but I really encourage hockey fans in Newfoundland, you know, you be proud of this guy and try to think outside of that and watch and root for him.
Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing you're seeing. He's almost got that, you know, that advanced knowledge of what's going to happen next. He can see the play a few steps ahead. And there was one, you mentioned those three, you know, the turnovers are created, the hard grunt work he's doing, and then to know where to be, you know, and all of a sudden he finds himself in front of the slot. There was just one particular play where, you know, he grinded it out in the corner, he got the puck, and everybody and their dog thought he was passing it out front. Instead, he goes behind the net, throws all the attention back there, and then that pass goes to the slot a few seconds later to throw everybody off, and in the net it goes. So he's seeing the play ahead of time like a McDavid and all those players too. But plus, as you said, the hard work. And I'll give you a minute on Dobish. What do you think?
Oh, I love it.
Incredible.
And couldn't be a nicer guy. I met him last year, and he's real humble. I love when I love that. You know, there's a level of that in hockey that still persists. You know, in order to be a leader and thrive, you can be wiry, and you can be different like he is. Right? You can see him get emotional during the game. But, always credit to his teammates and always thinking team first. And I love that. And they had a bunch of guys like that. The Habs are reminding me a little bit of the Jays last year. There are parallels sport to sport and leadership and, one man down, another man in, all of that. It's by committee, right? And hopefully they can get by Buffalo. But it tears me up because I like both teams. If Buffalo win, I got no reason to say it. I've seen a lot of games in Buffalo over the years merely because they're cheaper to go to, and I love the atmosphere. But I just love that story as well. So two teams are playing here that, I'd love to see advance. Only one can, and of course my allegiance would be with Montreal.
Don't have a lot of time. I don't know how much time. I know you're flat out all over the place, but
That's all good. I got time.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Refereeing. One thing I find really, drives me nuts is all the slow motion replays. I think they should show more replays in real time to give people an appreciation of, the thought process that doesn't go into some of these hits sometimes. There's a real thinking there that, we see the play in fast time all the time. So because we usually see replays in slow motion, I don't think we appreciate the speed of the game, of the ball or the puck. Dobish goal in the blink of an eye. That one off the partition, off the glass. You show it 10 times in slow motion, but it really happened in a blink of an eye. Because they just rarely show them at real speed, and instead they're dissecting every frame of it, which is not the way it works, and it's not the way it happens. Does it? Your thoughts on the refereeing?
Oh man, I think it's just a tough position to be in. Like, the refs are going to do what they can. They're human. Even if they were robots, man, like, hopefully we don't get there. But, to first of all unpack the whole idea of the challenge, I think offside should be just omitted. I think that's the worst, especially like you score a goal in 30 seconds before a guy was an inch offsides. I know they brought that in years ago. There was a guy in Nashville, and he was like 6 feet offside, and they didn't call it. And I just think they went way too far with this because I just know as a player, if I'm playing, I've been in a lot of tense situations, man, by this point in my life. And I'm telling you right now, when you whether it's ball hockey nationals or whether it's the WHL finals or AHL, like I've had a lot of situations here in the playoffs. And I don't remember ever being really up to you. You might look at an offside and go, oh, man, like it was 6 inches offside. But if the puck goes in 30 seconds later, you're trying to break down what went wrong. It's really not about the offside.
That's right.
And I think they overcommitted to something that just slows the whole game down. Now, the rest of it, I totally agree with you. The refs are in a hard position, man. And I feel bad for them because they took their names off the jerseys. Like, they don't even have a personality. They're just out there. They're just a number. Get in line. People are yelling. They're freaking out. These things happen in the blink of an eye. And then, there are people embellishing, diving, whatever you want to say. It happens. And it's time. Sometimes it's just human reaction. You get hit in the face with a stick, even though it doesn't kill you. Your human reaction is to overreact a little bit. So a lot of time they're going by that. And when you take advantage of that as a player, it can lose the integrity of the game. Now, I know you're playing for the Stanley Cup. So, whatever. I mean, I do whatever it takes to win. But I just find it, and by extension, by all sports, people are freaking out at the umpires in baseball and booing. And you look at the replay, and it's like a 16th of an inch off the plate. And you're going, yeah, of course. He called it a strike. Big deal. Move on. Like, basketball. You're talking about if a finger hit a finger off the ball late in the game when it's tied and it's playoffs. Same thing, right? And the more we can actually see these video calls, the more people will sit there and freak out on social media. Yeah, easy for you to say. There's cameras everywhere, and we're seeing it in ultra slow down, high definition, right? I mean, for years we didn't have this, and nobody complained. I don't look back at the 1983 Stanley Cup and say, oh, man, Gretzky got jobbed on that one. It was offsides. No one even thinks about it. So I just think
Brett Hull.
Well, there you go. The odd one happens like that, but that was also a result of a silly rule. They went and changed it back. But at some point soon, At some point soon, the Stanley Cup, Game 7, overtime, whatever you want to say, is going to be a 10-minute wait to see who wins.
Yeah.
And it might happen like the other night where it's re-challenge. Why not? It's the last game of the year, and we got to sit there for a half hour and wonder who won because, hey, the goalie might have been pushed. He might not have.
Yeah,
Sorry,
brutal.
go ahead.
No, it's getting a bit out of hand. Listen, can you stick around for a minute? I haven't had a chance to talk to you about Shoresy. If you got a few minutes, we're just going to go to the news. And I want to just, because Dave's got a funny, real great little clip there of Amy Poehler and so I gave it away. But I know we were going to try to. If you can hang on for a minute, we'll come right back to you.
You're listening to a rebroadcast of VOCM Open Line. Have your say by calling 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626 and listen live weekday mornings at 9 a.m.
And it does have to do with hockey. It's a show called Shoresy.
Oh, I love Shoresy.
That is making me laugh. And you know what it's also making me do?
Yeah.
Cry.
It's making... Okay.
She's a really... It's a great show.
Okay, I've only watched clips of Shoresy because, you know, I've seen him
minutes,
on...
6 episodes a season.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
You can watch all of them in a half a day.
And that is, well, Terry Ryan, tell me, what's going on there?
Oh, man, I saw that the other day and I was blown away. I mean, John Hamm goes to a lot of St. Louis Blues games. I've never met him. It still is wild to hear that. But Amy Poehler blew me away. I mean, I don't know how it would be. I mean, I know she used to be married to Will Arnett, and maybe, I mean, he's a huge Leafs fan. I just know these things from the same way you do, from reading People magazine and crap. So, I you know what I mean? Like, you're seeing it come across social media. I've never met these people. But to hear that, when we started with this thing, I mean, Jared Kiso writes it all, and he's a brilliant guy. He's an awesome friend. He's just a phenomenal person. I don't know what his goals were. I know when we got there to film season 1, I remember thinking, like, you know, hopefully people outside of Ontario see this. Hopefully, you know, we can have some kind of an impact, as small as it may be in the States. Maybe my old billets can see it. Hopefully it gets picked up by a network down there. You know, I don't even think I knew what Hulu was at the time. And all of a sudden, you know, it just really hit. A lot of things went right. And especially when people like this talk about it publicly, then, of course, you're going to have a lot more eyes on it, right? So over the last few years, we've just, you know, word of mouth combined with, you know, doing things like the Shoresy Classic. And we do a lot of things. We do a lot of events and things and promote it. It's an easy thing to promote. You know, I was in the acting world, not that you asked, but I was in the acting world for, you know, half a decade, never getting in front of the camera. I didn't think I'd be an actor. I got in there at first, it was a decent job. I was in locations, Republic of Doyle, and, you know, I didn't become an actor till well into that process, and I put a lot of hard work in, and when I realized that maybe I could do it, I wrote things. I really, really worked hard. There you go, like Alex Nowak.
Good segue.
I never thought, you know, I met a lot of actors, Brian, I did. And it's one, now I realize how fortunate I am because, you know, I put in time there, but a lot of people come in and, you know, to end up with a regular role on a show is extremely rare. To end up with a regular role on a show that makes people happy is, I mean, to think that would ever happen, it wasn't even on the radar. Like, at least when I put on my skates when I was a kid, I don't mean this in a cocky way, but you put on your skates like every kid goes, oh, maybe I'll play in the NHL. But I was always in the creative arts, but I never thought I'd be I never went to acting school. I didn't do any of that. So I just never thought that it would be possible. So now to be on that, and then it's one thing to make people happy, but to be so quotable, right? And so wherever we go, whether it be an airport, I don't know, a hockey rink's a layup, a Jays game, wherever, like, and people, they really pick up on the vibe. And, you know, we're all pretty close to our characters. It's not like it's, you know, a show like Game of Thrones where you have to suspend your knowledge of reality a little bit to wrap your head around the characters. These people are relatable, right? And I'm glad that Jarrett didn't go too far off base with that. Hitch isn't TR, but still, there are a lot of similarities. And when we go out, like, people embrace it and they're so happy because it's positive energy. And I thank Jared. A month doesn't go by that I don't thank him because what he's created, it it makes so many people happy.
So what you're saying is you didn't have to mull it over.
Well, no. And I love that people think that I did. They're like, good choice as an actor picking that. I'm like, you know what, man? It could have been a mayonnaise commercial. I needed the money. I needed the work.
I like mayonnaise. Hang on now. I love it. It's getting a lot of play again now with Connor McDavid, that whole thing. We spoke about that before, but it's great to see that it's still, you need a haircut. Just quick plug on that. I wanted to just briefly ask you about Hockey Helps the Homeless, which you guys did last week, the good work that you're doing outside of all this, because you're not busy enough. Tell me just quickly about the new season and where people can view it.
Oh yeah, so season 5 just came out, and a lot of interesting things go down, especially for my character. My character definitely has a few moments. There's one part in there that's pretty genuine, and I tear up a little bit. And we made sure to do this. We tried to get it in one because he knew what was going to happen. So that is interesting. It was a lot of fun for me as an actor. And then there's a lot of great hockey that goes down. We bring in Scott Darling comes in, the Blackhawks legend who has won a Stanley Cup. A lot of the actors, I don't want to give too much away for people that haven't seen it, but there's a lot of professional hockey players that come in, and we have an outdoor game. It's the no-show All-Stars versus the European Selects, and it was so much fun to film. And now I can't really say anything about season 6. We're going to film that in a few months, and I'm really, really, really tight-lipped on this. So all I can say is that it's if you liked it so far, you're going to love season 6.
Terry, we've spoken a bunch of times, and it's never a dull moment in a conversation with you. You got that much on the go. You're the epitome of everything for a reason, right? I mean, it really sucked, when the career was cut short the way it was. But boy, oh boy, have you ever made I don't even say a comeback. You just went onward and upward from there. So congratulations on everything you got going on, everything that you're fully capable of. We fall into all these positions, and that kick or the slap to the shins never set you back one bit. And I love where all the things you've been doing since then. And great ambassador for the province, like so many of you guys, and like New Hook up along and hey, Dawson Mercer at the Worlds tomorrow. It's gonna be a great view too.
Yeah. Glad you mentioned it. I wanted to mention that as well. We get a lot of things to be positive about as sports fans in the province, and not just hockey, across the board. It's a great time of year, man. It's hockey playoffs. The flowers are blooming. Spring, even though it's a little chilly, it's getting better out there. It's my favorite time of year, and Newfoundland has never been more successful on a world level. Shout out to Liam Hickey as well. Yes. I could go on and on, but he's just a friend of mine, and he's done a lot of great things this year. And that's it, man. I love it. And speaking of course, good fortune and hard work paying off. Congrats to you, my friend. What an honor to hold the seat that you're holding. And congrats to Patty Daly. I wish him all the best, one of the best. And now, of course, a new chapter in your life. Congrats. Really appreciate it, Terry. You managed to always cover the bases. Welcome here on the program anytime. Let's talk some more as the Habs continue their run, hey? Let's talk some more. And in the words of the immortal Baz Jameson, bye-bye for now and God bless. You got it. Thanks a lot, Terry. Talk next time, buddy. And good luck tonight with the boys. Thank you, my friend. Take care. All right. Great chat with Terry Ryan anytime right there. Look for your calls on that, and your thoughts on the game tonight. It's just a few Habs fans out there I know of that might be listening. Let's take our next break and back with, let's see. We have Elaine. We're going to get into a bit of the Amelia Earhart. And Andrew is there talking about the Warren's family farm. Yeah, in Winterland, cold storage issues. I know a little bit about that. I'm looking forward to that chat right after the break. And welcome back to the show. Let's go right to line number 5 now and talk to Andrew Warren with our Warren's family farm, Winterton. You're on the air.
Good morning, Brian. How are you today?
Morning, Andrew. Very good. Thank you. What's up?
Oh, it's a beautiful day here in Marystown. It's a bit cloudy over the community of Winterland, I think, this morning. I own a newly constructed, farm, commercial farm on the Burin Peninsula in Winterland, not Winterton. And basically, this is our fourth year in growing. Fourth year, starting the farm, and our second year really commercially growing. Last year, we, like everybody, we were dealing with wildfires, drought, all of that jazz, and I mean, it's been an uphill battle. Thankfully, as of last year, we had, a great community support from councillors, from, politicians all around, the province as a whole. We're trying to start something different here. We're trying to get back to, food security and the basic necessities that, rural Newfoundland needs.
Right, but I understand now. It's like, and I just heard this through the grapevine that there's issues with the cold storage facilities there. Now, I think I'm going to rely on you. I think it's Quincy operated through Royal Greenland, and they have a cold storage facility there. And is the future of that now have a potential impact on your operations? I understand.
Absolutely. I'm not exactly sure on the technical owner of the building. My understanding, it's the Agricultural Society of Winterland. So it's a community society that was formed. By my understanding, the building was built in the 1980s. So a group of smart men in the area realized that, we need a cold storage facility on the area to provide food, to keep our produce and keep some reliance off everything else and everyone else. They started this society, which is still in existence today, but sadly, the society, was formed, and they formed a coalition, went to government, requested some money, done the groundwork, done the legwork, got the building put there, funded, and now the only new commercial farmer on the peninsula in decades, myself, who's now utilizing this building that was a mere storage shed for community members. We're trying to utilize it as it was intended, and we're being pushed out. I received a call yesterday morning at 10 a.m. Was given no real explanation other than they might sell the building, they might do renovations, they don't know what they're doing. And basically, whatever it is they're doing, they don't want to do it around us. They don't want us there to do it.
Have you had any kind of contractual or specific agreement in place for use of the building and any term to it?
No, not really any kind of an actual term or anything like that. It was put there. It says that the building even says right on the side, Winterland Agricultural Society Vegetable Depot. It's been there longer than I've been on Earth, and it was designed and it was utilized right up until all of the farmers in Winterland had retired. It was utilized exactly for that purpose. Right now, it's hopefully going to be revamped for vegetable storage, and we all know the situation we're in as a province. Marine Atlantic only ran 3 trips last week, I believe, and as a province, we've got about 7 to 10 days of food supply. If we don't start looking after, the main brass tacks, we're in big trouble.
Yeah, we're absolutely encouraging, from within, given, as you just pointed out, articulated, trying to get it in. It's just not always, we have become self-sufficient. We have been going down this road, and your efforts are, unquestionable. But this kind of throws a wrench into those sorts of things, and the uncertainty in business is never a good thing. What's the immediacy of this? So will this directly affect the upcoming season? Or at least when the next time you... Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so basically I have already ordered all my seed potatoes, all of my transplants, all of my seedlings, all of my seeds. I've got, there's another farm in the area, Rogers Farm, a greenhouse. They were gracious. They offered me a greenhouse, a big, beautiful greenhouse to use this year free of charge to try to help me out, because we're starting a farmer's market here in the area.
Well, that's great.
So they offered... Yeah,
go ahead, sorry.
No, I said, so they offered the greenhouse. We've got so many community members, so many different groups, societies, you name it, offering to help and trying to do it. We're trying to put a 12-month a year, a farmer's market that'll run 12 months of the year here in Marystown. Council in Marystown is all for it, and actually I've got a meeting tomorrow morning to go and sign the official documents for it all. But in order for us to be able to do this and provide quality, wholesome local food 12 months of the year, I need a place to be able to store it.
Yeah. So can that greenhouse that's been offered, can that store it in the short term?
No, it can't. We need cold storage. So, I mean, as of for right now, until I'll say August, we don't really need any sort of cold storage for vegetables because, harvest season is upon us. It's not, we're only just planting now. But
looking ahead to next year, yeah.
Yeah, we're looking ahead for this season right now. It's no point in me planting all of these vegetables and producing, 500,000, 600,000 pounds of produce if I've got nowhere to store it. I can sell what I can, but only, we're all the same. I mean, we only have so much space in our fridge. A lot of people don't, they don't have root cellars like they did years ago to buy their produce and put it away. I mean, we're reliant on this. We need it. Going
back to the phone call that you got out of the blue, what kind of chat did you have to try to understand what's going on here and why what's happening is happening?
All I was told was that they had a meeting. Now, I had requested multiple times to join, to sit with, whatever you want to call it, with this agricultural society, knowing the fact that everybody on it had farmed their whole lives. Their fathers did, their grandfathers did. I obviously would love to learn from these people and try to, ask questions. And I'm trying to grow and provide food for everybody. And, we donate to lots of local food banks. We give to, whatever fundraising efforts we can. We try to, do whatever we can to help. And I was just graced with a call at 10 o'clock saying basically, we don't know what we're going to do, but you can't be there. That's just basically the gist of it. And I was like, well, wow, where did this come from? You know what I mean?
And you can't be there anymore as of when?
As of not this weekend, but next weekend coming. So I'll say that's 24th of May.
And what, if anything, do you have inside there now belong to you?
Well, I've got some seed potatoes. All of our vegetables are gone. We have some wooden storage crates and stuff there as well. And inside the building, there's, all this equipment for weighing your vegetables, for washing them, for preparing them, for, bagging them, sorting them, and all this stuff, which none of that now we're going to be able to avail of.
Okay, well, obviously cooler heads need to prevail, and communication, it seems, should prevail, but it doesn't seem like... Did you say you had opportunities to sit down with them, and what came of those opportunities?
No, I requested multiple times to sit down, and it just went by the wayside.
So not open to discussions, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And as a society, we all know it's a society, it's a private group, whatever, but those gentlemen don't own the building, or, they can't sell the building like they're intending to and take the profits from the building and disperse it amongst themselves. That's not how it works. This is a society. So even as a society, it's still binded by laws and policies. They need to do monthly meetings, weekly, whatever the terms of the agreements are, and the structure of an actual society. It's more like a personal cult now, honestly, like a community cult. If you're not from Winterland, you're not from Winterland, and you'll never be from Winterland. I've been all over Canada working in lots of different positions. I've owned different companies, different entities, and all sorts of things. And I'm pretty proud to say that I can pick up the phone and call just about anybody that I've ever dealt with and worked with over the years, ask a question, ask some advice, ask to borrow something, offer to borrow something, and everybody is all great and eager and willing to help, and we all help each other. But I've never seen the like of it with farming. Just the people, they're constant. They just want you to fail. They'll look at you and tell you that something looks like crap or it's not right, and then walk away and not offer any assistance on it. Well, my father didn't start this farm. My grandfather didn't, and my great grandfather didn't. I started this. I've got over $4 million put into it. I poured my heart, my soul into it. We take in autism groups. We take in school groups. We do anything and everything that we can, birthday parties, you name it. And we don't, we're certainly not making any money at that stuff. It's about community education, community involvement. It's nothing better than seeing grandparents come in with their young grandkids, and they're telling you about all the stories when they grew up, raising animals and getting vegetables. They can go in and see all our animals we got there, or go down and pick some cabbage, some turnip, pull some carrots, dig up some potatoes with their grandkids. They love it. It's a community a place, and it's community supported. The outreach of people that have been, offering solutions, offering assistance, coming up with ideas. It's amazing. I don't get stuck for words very often, but there's nothing else I can say other than it's amazing. It's truly heartwarming, right?
I can appreciate the heartwarmingness and the frustration. Look, when it comes to food security and in self-sufficiency, we need all hands on deck right now. I mean, whether it's the cost of food just to bring it in, as you said, the unpredictability of it, and on it goes. Andrew, keep us posted on this. Obviously, there's about a week here, it seems, before you have to get out of Dodge. Let's hope, now that it's out there, I'm sure the MHA for the area, I'm sure the minister, no one wants to see opportunities for self-sufficiency and for more farms and that sort of thing to come and go by the wayside, as you said. So let's keep this one on the front burner. And please, if you have a moment next week, call us and give us an update.
I will indeed, sir. Thank you. And I just want to give a shout out to our MHA in the area, he was Minister, Paul Pike.
Sure.
Paul was on the phone with me last night, actually 10:30 again. So hopefully Minister Forsey will sit down with him and have a discussion and see if government can, offer any kind of assistance, do anything to help out. I mean, because it's about food sufficiency, but it's also, we're on the Burin Peninsula and jobs are hard to come by. I mean, we keep 6 people employed year round and we go up to, 12, 14 when we're planting and harvesting. Now with this new farmers market, we're looking at an extra couple of jobs. So in a rural community, 20 odd jobs, it means a lot. Yep. So I just hope that, cooler heads prevail and they're open to sit down and communicate and talk, because I certainly am.
Yep, let's give it the same urgency we did windmills down that way. Hey, what?
Exactly. You got it, buddy, for sure.
Andrew, thanks for the call.
Go Habs, go, Brian.
And go Habs, go. You got it. Thanks a lot. Okay.
Thanks, buddy.
Take care. All right, that's Andrew Warren from Warren's Family Farm in Winterland. Yes, not Winterton. My bad, right off the top. Let's take a little bit of a late break. Come back with Elaine and Dan Kelly from the CFIB after the break.
The Tim Powers Show. Join the conversation weekday afternoons at 4 p.m. on your VOCM.
And welcome back to the program. Let's go to line number 1. And Dan Kelly, the president and CEO of the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. You're on the air.
Good to be with you.
Thank you for joining us. Right out of the gate, I saw this come across the screen, and the pioneer, the founder of the CFIB, John Bullock, our sincere sympathies, passed away at the age of 92, a little over a month ago now, but really, is pioneer the safest and best all-encompassing, or how would you term such a loss, Dan?
Yeah, it's a big loss. Now, look, he lived till 92 with his wife at his 93-year-old wife at his side, having founded a major business association, raised some great kids. So he certainly lived the definition of a life well lived. And in fact, when I saw him just a couple of weeks before he passed, his hope was that we would be celebrating the legacy that he left behind rather than mourning his loss. And that's what we're doing. But it is, of course, still sad to lose somebody that has had that much significance in the future of our country and certainly for the future of small and medium-sized companies from across the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the name is certainly synonymous. You don't have to go anywhere. Everybody in small business knows what he has done for the organization and just for the cause. And speaking of causes, to try to segue, not too quickly from that, of course, but, we just brought a budget down here, and the local Jonathan Galgay here, Federation of Independent Business, the Legislative Affairs, talking about, the tax cuts that we saw here, that, trying to reduce the red tape by basically for small businesses that are up against everything that we know of in this current economic, I don't know if you want to call it a climate or a maelstrom. How would you characterize it?
Well, look, it has been incredibly tough. I have many small business owners as members of CFIB that have told us that they haven't had a normal month of sales in 6 years. When you think about it, from the pandemic right into rampant inflation and a broken job market, then, of course, into a trade war, and now, of course, energy price shock. There have been so many big and often international factors that have led to some real challenges for small business owners, more than we've seen in decades. So it's little wonder why small firms are, many of them are just hanging on. So it certainly was good news that the government of Newfoundland and Labrador has made progress on a couple of major files, some reductions in key tax rates, like the small business corporate tax rate, as well as laying out a plan to deal with regulatory reform. We've been able to get provinces more excited about reducing red tape and streamlining business growth and development in almost every province, but Newfoundland Labrador has been a bit of an outlier, and we've struggled to get the government's attention to this file, and it does feel like that has changed.
Yeah, there are some positive words absolutely coming from Jonathan Galga, who I've known for a long time here and a great advocate that he is. Have the federal tariff relief measures been enough in recent months now? I mean, are you seeing Sorry, I know it's a loaded question, but go for it.
It is. It's still a mess. The feds, of course. Look, I don't blame the federal government, the Canadian federal government, on the trade fight that we're having with the United States. That, of course, was borne by the United States, and I think they've done as well a job as they possibly can in trying to get some kind of sanity brought into the system. But they need a dance partner in the U.S. to do that. Where I do criticize the federal government, though, is their response domestically. The government has been very focused on large business, large projects, major projects across the country, and of course some attention needs to be placed there. There's no question. But there's been very little focus on basically grooming and helping to support more entrepreneurship in Canada. If you think about what's happened over the last decade, the first bit of the Trudeau government, they gutted the small business tax structures that small businesses use, and then towards the end of their mandate, they had proposed increasing the capital gains inclusion rate from 50% to 2/3. That's, of course, a major reason why business owners start a business, is they're hoping that it's going to be worth more than when they started, and so they felt under attack by the federal government, not supported by the federal government. And the Carney government, while it ended a few of the bad ideas that were left behind, like the capital gains inclusion rate, there really hasn't been a lot of focus on trying to stimulate small business growth and development. And on tariffs specifically, the programs that the federal government designed, if you can believe it, most small businesses are not even eligible to apply for any of the tariff relief measures that the feds have offered because they're too small. So the programs, some of them dedicated to small business, say that if your business doesn't have $2 million in sales, you can't apply. Yeah. Others say that if you don't have 10 employees, you can't apply. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the tailor-made sort of moniker seems to come to mind for this because, look, they can always fall back on the uncertainty that even they have. We just don't know whatever could come out of the President of the United States' mouth tomorrow could change things again. We've seen the courts in the United States overturn some of them anyway. The recent global 10% tariff was just thrown out again. So do you when you're watching this, and I'll let you wrap up on this, people expecting these refunds and that sort of thing. It's a slow drip process, and in the meantime, nothing's getting better soon. So more broad-based tax relief, I imagine, as opposed to these programs that just aren't doing the trick and maybe arguably aren't relevant right now.
You got it. That's exactly what we've been recommending to the feds. Look, it's not that there are zero good programs to support business. There are a few, federally and provincially. But by and large, business owners just pass them by. They don't bother applying because they know unless you hire a consultant and you use the right clean energy buzzword, you're not going to get anything from that. You got to swear your firstborn child to be able to access some of these programs. Yeah. So now, what's far better is if the government focuses on broad-based tax relief, broad-based regulatory reform, and allows businesses to invest their own money to try to grow that business. If a business can keep, if we reduce the small business tax rate, as the Newfoundland and Labrador government is doing, businesses can then use those additional savings to then reinvest back into their businesses, and that's a more agnostic way of stimulating small business growth than any government program could be.
Wow, there's so much on that I would love to go on with, right into, well, I doubt any small businesses are going to profit from the new defense bank unless it goes to the city with the most small businesses maybe and they can find some. But the new defense bank is an example of what you're saying. Like there's the bigger picture, but the small business can't be left behind because that is the groundwork that Mr. Bullock worked so hard to found and to establish to what it is today. Dan, look, I really appreciate the time. Thanks. You're in Ottawa today, are you?
I'm in Ottawa for meetings in the Federal Department of Finance, where I'm standing right now.
There you go. Okay, well, I'll let you get to it, and I appreciate you sharing time with us on the program today.
Anytime. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. There you go. President CEO of the Canadian Independent Business. Right. The CFIB. These acronyms kill me. Let's take our final break of the morning. Come back with Elaine. We're talking about the Amelia Earhart statue right after the break. And welcome back to the home stretch. Just a quick email before we get there. Speaking earlier to Terry Ryan, we were talking some hockey and Habs and that sort of thing. And I got a note from Carla, of course. I mentioned this earlier in the week, of course, but the Professional Women's Hockey League playoff finals are set for the Walter Cup. And that's 2 Canadian teams, Carla points out. Yeah, Montreal beat the reigning Cup winners Minnesota, so they'll play Ottawa beginning tonight. She says, sure, go Habs, go, but also go Victoire or Ottawa. I just think it's awesome that it's both Canadian teams, and so do I. So thanks for the email. Really appreciate it. We'll be watching. I mentioned earlier in the week, of course, that Abby Newhook, Alex Newhook's sister, was with the Boston Fleet. They were eliminated, unfortunately. She had assists, played great in the playoffs. Unfortunately, the team didn't advance, but that's the way she goes. For this first year of the PWHL, let's go to line number 4. And Elaine, you're on the air.
Good day. How are you?
I'm okay. Thanks. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm calling about the Amelia Earhart statue. I was one that found it on August 1st. It was stolen on April 25th, I think it is. I'm not sure the exact date. I don't know. It was in April. And at that time, it was said that the statue got stolen and the reward will be offered if people who stole the statue were prosecuted and or the return of the statue. I found it on August 1st. I still haven't received anything. January 20th, the town of Harbour Grace wrote a letter to me saying that I would not receive it, but they didn't even put it in the mail until March 11th, I'm sorry. And they're saying that they were not going to give me the money because the people that stole it were not prosecuted or anything. But then in that, what they say about that is if the statue is returned, is the and or. And I still haven't got no headway with this at all. It's ridiculous. It's false publicity.
Elaine, can you just bring us back to August 1st of last year? How did you find the statue? Just remind us.
I was on my way back from Carbonear, and I went. The dog wanted to get out. I usually go at Tower Hill, but there were so many people there watching the fires, I wouldn't go there to let her out. So I went down a bit further, and I let her out there, and she went and did her stuff. And then as she was coming back, she was barking and barking, and I didn't know what she was barking. I still don't know what. Well, I saw something there, but I didn't know what it was because I'm disabled. So I came home, and I got my son, and we went back down, and it was the Amelia Earhart statue. So then I came home and I called Crime Stoppers, and they asked me to call back on Monday because the Newfoundland office wasn't open. So it's a long story short and now it is May 14th. They're having a reopening for the Amelia Earhart on the 20th of May, and I still haven't received any acknowledgement or nothing for it.
I know that at the time it was reported widely, and you had commented on this, that it was possible that your son was a suspect in actually stealing this statue, and that was widely reported, so it's not news here. But I know you've acknowledged that. Is there, do they have any reason to suspect him?
No. My son was in jail, and we had to do a lie detector test, myself and my son, at the RCMP office in Harbour Grace. People from Ottawa came down to do the lie detector test. He passed it, and I passed it. So, like everything they've asked, I've done. And when they put it out first, they said the people that stole it had to be prosecuted and or the return of the statue. Well, I returned the statue, and I'm still no further ahead.
And no communication back and forth, no indication. I think it was $25,000 reward. Is that correct?
Yes, it was. And out of that $25,000 reward, it was $10,000 by the Pike family, $10,000 by Newco Metals, $3,000 from the lawyer Mark Cooper, and $2,000 from the town of Harbour Grace.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, I mean, of course, it was recovered where you found it, and it had been cut up into pieces, of course, in that wooded area. The damage was repaired, of course, by I believe it was Lubenbach. I better not. I'm just trying to remember the name. And they restructured it. They recreated it from scratch. And there is, as you said, next week, I think it's Wednesday, the 20th, there will be an event held at the Spirit of Harbour Grace Park there, the anniversary, actually, of her historic flight, which is when they're going to return the statue to its rightful place. Beyond getting back in, doing a back and forth with the town and the people who are in charge of this, did you ever seek any legal advice, or did you have a lawyer look at, your chances?
No.
Yep, sorry, go ahead.
Was intending on getting one, but I'd have to pay the expenses out of my own pocket, and I'm sorry, but I can't afford that.
Yeah, there are some lawyers out there, if they know that there's going to be a positive resolution, they may take it on, but this isn't like a civil case, or it could be, I guess, if you get into a civil case with anyone over whether or not you should receive it. I mean, that seems about the only logical route, only because otherwise it's a back and forth the whole time. There have been opinions out there that express that, just the fact that there is this connection between yourself and your son, who you say was physically in jail at the time. Is there any suggestion that someone could have done this on his behalf?
No. Because at that time, one that my son could communicate with was his children and myself when he was in jail.
Right.
He didn't have the phone number to call anybody else. And he's already done the lie detector test, and they said that he had no part of it. And when I did mine, it was the same thing. We passed the test, no questions. And
what did they say to you as you, did they tell you on the spot that you passed?
Yes. When I finished my tests, they said that I passed the test and there was no problems. And the same thing with my son. They said that he passed it as well. Well, and I can go back to the RCMP if they want, and I can get a copy of it all to prove it, because I was going to be prosecuted when I found this statue. And on August 8th, when the RCMP asked me to go over to Harbour Grace, I went with them to get the statue, and then they brought me back, and they were going to charge me with it.
Can you understand? Can you understand a little bit, knowing what they knew and about your son's criminal past, the fact that he was in jail? Can you understand the suspicion that might have been there, the uneasiness the coincidence, shall we say, of you finding it under those circumstances? I mean, not that you should be judged for that, but can you understand, even in the public eye, the suspicion and the coincidence that this appears to be to most people, that you would find it?
Yes, I can understand that, but my son had nothing to do with it. And they know who stole the statue. Well, the RCMP do know who stole the statue.
Well, that'll be worth... Sorry, go ahead.
Because when I was on the way back to get the statue with them, there was a name mentioned to me, and I said, I can't tell you who stole it. I don't know. I said, I know as a fact that I didn't find out till I was in the hospital. My friend was in the hospital that day. Well, she was in for a month and a half. But I went in to see her, and it was all over the news that the statue was stolen.
Yes, it certainly was. But look, I guess just because of the time on the clock, Elaine, look, I appreciate your call. I can understand the frustration if you had absolutely nothing to do with it. And I only say that because that's what I should say. I understand your frustration. And we'll absolutely go back to the RCMP in the town to find out. I know we've checked in with them before, but I wasn't aware at this point that there was still no resolution one way or the other. So I appreciate the call. Keep us updated, and we'll go to the powers that be and see where they stand.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care. All right. That brings us right up to about 30 seconds. Enough time to say, hey, Sarah, Jay's turned a corner last night. What do you think?
Dalton Burr Show. Great, but not too impressed with Mr. Hoffman. I haven't been impressed with him.
That's not the words you used a little while ago when I ran into you.
I can't say the other words. I can't say those on air.
I might have said a few expletives last night when he gave up the lead. But hey... better days are coming.
He still gets the win. That's what rots me.
Yeah,
he totally blew it. And, well, he didn't blow it, but He put him in a bad spot.
Yeah. Well, let's hope, as I said, we've turned that little corner, those little bumps in the road. And as I've said before, it's not like the Dodgers aren't going through the same thing right now. Okie dokie, let's put a bow on the show for today, for this Thursday. Thank you, everyone, to your callers and the emailers. Really appreciate the time, and thanks for making me, help me ease into this seat here, right here, even though all I do is stand all day. Thanks, everyone. Drive safely, arrive alive. VOCM cares.